Šepet Izole.
Welcome to another episode of Whispers of Izola. Today we are at this idyllic location at the Svetilnik Lighthouse Beach or Park, and with a special reason, because Izola hosts an international film festival, Kino Otok, Isola Cinema. And I, as a true film lover, will have to leave you guys today because I need to see some movies. But don't worry, you will be in a very good hands because with me is Jan Veljak. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you, Luca. It's an honor to take over, and what a better place than Izola during Kino Otok. I mean, films, filmmakers, and a town that just feels like one big open-air cinema.
Oh my God, such a lovely introduction. I know you love Izola also because you are a local, right?
That's correct, yes.
Besides that, you are also a speaker at our local radio station, Radio Caprice, and plus another interesting fact, you are an opera singer, right?
Yeah, yes, that's also true.
So his voice is just amazing, right? You can hear it already.
What can I say, Luca? Izola inspires, and so do our amazing guests. So now run along to the cinema. Don't worry, I've got this.
I know, I trust you. Enjoy the ride and see you later.
Thank you. Varja Močnik is the heart behind the film selection of Kino Otok Isola Cinema. With a keen eye for poetic, bold and border-crossing cinema, she has shaped the festival into a meeting point for filmmakers and audiences who crave authenticity and dialogue. Varja doesn't just program films, she curates experiences. Isn't that right, Varja?
Yeah, I would say no.
Okay.
I would say that everybody curates with their senses, their emotions and their intellect their own experiences, and that perhaps me or even broader, the Kino Otok crew, we make the space for them to create their own experiences.
So Varja, you've been shaping this festival for many years. What keeps you coming back?
Oh, there is many things. It's not only one. I would say in the first place, of course, cinema. I really love watching films, and to have this as my job, it's a privilege. I cannot be even more thankful for as I am. But maybe perhaps even before I would put the crew that are my colleagues, my friends, that we cooperate really very well, and that there is not such issues that would, not help me be as best, at my work as I can be. So I would say that this colleague circle is the most important. But then, of course, the nature of the work, the festival, the cinema, the presenting of films, the sharing the films with our public, this is quite important. I mean, this is the phase that we get rewarded for our work, is when people see the films and then we talk about the films with them. So this is something, many things that are really nice.
Is this the best feeling ever?
I would say that many of us also continue working this work because it's not really easy. It's quite hard work, not for much money. People would go away, but we don't, because it's so rewarding.
It can be chaotic, right? At some times.
Very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But keeping it cool is something that we also learned, I would say, through the years.
Does also Izola have something to do with it? Do you feel like Izola is your second home?
For sure. I didn't even come to this location. I mean, coming to Izola, which is, I would say, for sure the most beautiful town of the Slovene coast, the most interesting one, diverse one, with many, many little spaces that are special. And the people here, the beginning of the summer here, the sea, the views, I think it's a very special place. Yeah.
As a local, I have to say you just warmed my heart.
Oh.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for Izola.
How do you select films that speak both locally and globally?
I think I would say that best films always speak locally and globally.
Okay.
And it's only I mean, it's of course for us to find them, but it's also for filmmakers to make them. So just being curious and not only relying on the mainstream information, the big festivals, the big prizes, but also going a little bit around the corner to local festivals, to smaller festivals, to ask friends if they saw something interesting, and colleagues. This is how we do it. We try to be nosy and curious to find this kind of films.
Since you just mentioned that, what makes Kino Otok different than other film festivals?
Many things again. No, of course, I would say that the combination of our ideas of what film festival or this film festival should be, which is kind of, we have several base points that we kind of try to follow. One is the communication between films and the public, between filmmakers and the public, between us and all of them. One thing, opening the space to communicate, to be able to tell your review, although it's different. This is one thing. The next thing is that our festival is not, it doesn't have a competition. We have this privilege to have a festival without competition because we actually do believe that films and art in general should not compete. They should communicate again, you know. And then the third thing is kind of longevity.
Longevity,
I know,
yeah.
Again, on many levels. One is that we should make a space in this fast world. We should make a space that slows down a little bit, that there is time to talk and to feel the films, and also the longevity of films. For example, films are like products. They're becoming like products. Their duration time is only 1 or 2 years, and then they get forgotten, and it's sad. It's not cool. I think films should be watched if they have some information for the people, some emotion. We should not forget about them. So we show also old films, but not only classics, but many films that we remember through the years.
So, what do you hope first-time visitors would feel when they attend Kino Otok?
I would hope they would feel welcomed. And then I would also hope that they feel this space to express themselves.
What is, for you personally, one unforgettable moment in all these years at this festival?
There are again many, of course.
Sure.
But I would say I would leave the film alone because the films are so, you know, for me, I get totally emotional with many films, so my life is kind of ooh. But to be here on this location at the Svetilnik and many nights waiting, or not at all waiting, but the mornings come and there is this beautiful view of the dawn above the sea. It's really beautiful. Sometimes also going for a swim at that time.
Sure.
It's something that makes many friendships, I would say.
Thank you for that. For the very end, we have 2 special questions for all our guests.
Okay.
The first one is, which part of Izola feels the most cinematic to you and why?
Oh, again. I would go now out of space into content. I would say that the most interesting part of Izola is always the people.
Wow, I didn't expect that answer. Okay.
It is like this. I mean, spaces can be beautiful, but people make them beautiful.
And the second question is, if your life were a movie, which movie would that be, or which scene in a movie?
Concrete film, because I would rather express in a genre or so.
Okay.
I would say that in one part, because of the socio-political circumstances that we live in, it would definitely be a very grim, dark horror.
Okay.
We live in such times, I would say, full of wars and hate.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We have to fight that, so we wouldn't lose at the end of this horror. But the other part, the lyrical story, I would say would be a like absurd comedy or something.
Okay. Okay. We came to the very end. You have anything, maybe the last sentence for all our visitors?
No, I think it's just a thank you for your interview. I think this is such a beautiful time for us, because really not only the crew has this moment to give what we were working for the whole year to the people, but also we get a lot back. So thank you.
And thank you. Johannes Gillinger uses film as a tool for political and historical reflection. His essay films connect fragments of resistance, memory and revolution, questioning the structures we live in. His voice is quiet, but deeply resonant. Welcome to Isola.
Welcome, thank you.
How do you like our town so far?
I just came yesterday very late, but I was walking around, I really like it. I mean, it's easy for someone who is not living close to the sea. I like it
to like the sea town, right? Yeah. What inspired you to dive into Albania? Movie you're presenting this year explores how much history still resonates in the Albanian present.
I mean, it started in 2021 because I was in contact with the film archive there, and they had a bunch of really interesting material from the private life of the dictator Enver Hoxha. And from this I went deeper into the history of the country after the Second World War, and how this country transformed to a communist country, and also how this country transformed then to a capitalist society. And I was interested in this kind of transformation process, what happened in each of these epochs, and how you still feel the old epoch in the present. This was the main idea, actually.
This is very interesting, yeah? Yeah. When did you know filmmaking will be your future path?
I don't know. Not so. I have not the story, you know, that I can tell you. Like, I got my first camera with 8 years or something like that. It became very late. I think at 25, I started to.
Okay.
Yeah, I started to work with film, and from this I had many different phases. So I would say. So you
didn't, as a student, you weren't a student in some like a film academy or something like that.
At the beginning, I was a student of a kind of media study, and then I went into the Academy of Fine Arts, where I developed more or less the way I work now. So I became, I think, after this process of more media TV production, I went into the artistic direction, and that's why I'm where I'm now.
Okay, so your films mix history and poetry. So how do you find that balance?
I mean, I think it's not, on the one hand, for me, I'm interested in history, but more how history is told. So I'm not a historian, I'm an artist, but I'm interested in the historiography, how it is written, how the narration of history is. And for me, this goes along very much in the way of using also language, like poetry, but I would not say actually it's just poetry, it's also more the way of how you can use essayistic means for film, for example. So the question of the essay, or the way how the essay can use different forms of media, also the language, is something that interests me.
Okay, I mean, that sounds like you have to put in a lot of time and a lot of study into it.
For sure. I mean, the projects are like every film project. I think it's mostly takes a lot of time, research, and then the part of the shooting sometimes is shorter than the research before. But in my case also the editing process is very important, because I don't write the text before I make the film. The text is written during the editing process with fragments I wrote before. So it's a constant process of editing and narrating within the film editing process. So the words come mostly at the process of editing.
How do you see the relationship between art and activism today?
I think there's a big relationship for sure. In my case, I don't see myself as an activist, but I think I see film as something that can activate something.
Oh, okay.
So I think for me it's more interesting to make a film and to have an audience, and afterwards there is, I mean, it can activate, like thoughts on the past, on the present, but it can also activate some kind of emancipation, some logic, rethinking how history is narrated, how we constantly are influenced by the past. So this is something that interests me.
So you believe that cinema can still be a form of protest?
I think it is. I mean, the film can activate maybe to think about how we protest. I don't think that cinema itself is a protest, because the cinema space itself is something that is very closed for me, and it's something that when you watch a film, you make a reflection on it, and if it's good enough, or if you're lucky, maybe afterwards you have the feeling there is a kind of or let's say after the film you have more questions, maybe you have more the feeling that the film activates something to think about the present, for example. And for me, protest, for example, is something that is physical. I think we lose, or we should be careful not to lose the protest in the form of how we see it nowadays, sometimes to post on Instagram or whatever. It's a kind of second tool to make a statement, but I think the physical space, the street, is the way how to protest. The film can just activate maybe something.
Would you say that this is kind of your goal, that after you watch the movie you have more questions than answers?
Yeah, that's actually
right?
What I'm interested in.
So what's been your favorite encounter at Kino Otok so far?
I'm very short here, but I think it's I like the atmosphere a lot. I was wandering around here. I think it's a place of meeting people and talk about film, and I think it is interesting that it's a festival that is not based on something like competition. This I think is very interesting, because I think the film industry itself is running into a way of competition, and I think film is not a competition. I think it's a dialogue together.
That's a beautiful thought. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
For the end, we have two special questions for you and for all other guests. What place in Izola feels the most cinematic to you, and why? I know you just came here yesterday, but like so far.
I don't know. I mean, I like old places, also like sometimes abandoned places. So I was at the open air cinema and I like it a lot. It is cinematic, although it was now a cinema, but the place itself, I think it's cinematic, yeah.
If your life now were a movie, what would it look like? Which scene would that be, or which movie? It's a tough question, isn't it?
It's a tough question. I don't know. I'm lucky that my life is not a movie, because I think movies are just a fiction, and it doesn't matter if it's documentary. It is kind of attempt to go into reality, but you're always 2 meters away from the reality. And life maybe is also the same. I don't know. I think it would be maybe something being on the road. Yeah, a road movie, maybe. Yeah, maybe like a film from Radio On is the film called Crispy Tea. Maybe this is something that the film would look like, being on the road and discover a country, maybe, or.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for being our guest, and I wish you all the best and all success in the future.
Thank you. So.
Ivan Salatic crafts deeply atmospheric films that hover between memory, silence, and landscape. His work, including the acclaimed You Have the Night, reveals the emotional residue of places and people. This year, he brings a new contemplative piece to Izola. Ivan, welcome.
Thank you.
Which movie are you presenting this year?
So this is my second feature film. It's a fiction film. It took me some 6 to 7 years to make this film. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, well,
It was a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but it's also very usual for a feature film. People these days, it takes at least 5 years to do that. But yeah, so this one is more towards the fiction in relate to my previous one, which was I used documentary style and I mixed real people with invented situation and stuff like that. But for this one, it's set in 19th century. It's a historical film of a sort of experimental historical film. But it is a fiction, full fiction. So that's what I'm bringing here this year.
What was the biggest challenge when making this film?
The biggest challenge, I think, it's the fact that the film was made. Half of the film was shot in Italy, which is a foreign country. So just that alone is a very complicated thing to do production-wise. But also many things. I mean, many things. I worked with non-actors, but I treated them as actors. So we had a lot of work to do, and yeah, we made some very specific costumes. So I think we tried to craft every part of the film the best we could. So I would say it's a lot of work, but we also enjoyed it.
I noticed that your films often focus on quiet moments. So what draws you to that kind of storytelling?
Yeah, I think many times people are not actually talking what they are thinking or contemplating, and sometimes people don't even have the tools to express themselves. Right. So I think we are very much narrative-focused civilization. We like to talk about things, but basically most of our inner life is hidden, and it spends its time in silence.
You got me thinking, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's a very beautiful thought, yeah. But how does the landscape influence your creative process?
Yeah, the landscape's always something to which you can admire, like for its beauty, and also it can be a landscape which tells you something how nature deteriorates, all sorts of things. But it also can be like a landscape of your character, like inner landscape of feelings, landscape that describes how someone's personality is. So you can use landscapes to narrate as well. So in this film, for example, I was the first part starts in Montenegro, and it follows like the small crew that goes to Italy and follows like this dying poet with his entourage. So you basically, through the landscapes, you also have a different, kind of historical images, and also how light changes, and all sorts of changes that brings different
feelings and
yeah,
emotions.
I mean,
yeah. Since you mentioned that, how do audiences from different countries respond to your work?
For this one, since this is a historical film from a small country, coming from Montenegro, it's based in fact, the story is based in fact, from that point it goes into fiction, but it's based in historical facts. But for the people who doesn't really know anything about history of one small country, it's a complete fantasy. So it's also a film that plays with this idea how history is some kind, it's somehow owned, and there is someone who decides what is the mainstream of the history, and what we should remember and what we should not remember. So it plays with this notion. So this film is in a way also a historical film in a sense, but it's also a complete fantasy. And depending on how well you know the context, it will be more of a historical or more of a fantasy film. But it's also like it's a very, I think, humane. You can relate to it by relations with within the characters and the emotion. So it functions even if it's not, even if you're not familiar with the history, it functions very well, I think. Yeah.
And I think it fits, your movie fits very well to Kino Otok as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I also like to be here, and this is my third or fourth time to be here. I have many friends. It's a very friendly place. The town is beautiful.
So it's not your first time in Izola?
Not my first time,
Okay.
definitely, and hopefully not the last. So I really love to be here, and it is a good place for my films. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. For the very end, we have two special questions for all of our guests. So the first one is, which part of Izola feels the most cinematic to you and why?
Well, I don't know. It depends. I mean, I think the light is most cinematic, which doesn't actually have to do anything with a concrete place. But the sole fact that it's near this beautiful sea and all the plants that you can see, you know, all the houses it seems like all the people are really caring about plants, which is nice, and everything is clean.
This is true, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have really a specific place. Obviously, like the old town is you know, it's a charmer, but I don't know. I mean, it's just everything is beautiful when you're by the sea, and the light is beautiful.
Thank you. And the second question is, if your life were a movie, which movie would that be, or which scene in a movie?
Oh God. It's a tough one, really. I never thought about it. But yeah, let's continue with the previous notion of light. So I don't know, maybe some Mediterranean film, maybe Godard's La Mépris, I think. Not because of the story, but because of the light and the villa in Naples. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that, and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Marina Gumzi is a Slovenian producer, author, and screen culture researcher. She runs Nosorogi, a boutique production studio in Ljubljana known for supporting unconventional and visionary filmmakers. She is also active in international research on the future of film and industry sustainability. Films she produced and/or co-wrote were awarded by many institutions. At Kino Otok, she presents A Common Pair, which she produced and co-wrote, and Fiume o Morte, which she co-produced. Marina, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you feeling so far?
I'm so excited to be here. I'm a bit exhausted because we just finished the screening of our second film that we are presenting this year, and that's been quite a massive thing for us. I love this place, and have two of our films which we've been working on for so long, like screened one after another. It's just really beautiful, but it took a bit of a energetic toll on me, so
Yeah.
I'm a bit like overwhelmed and maybe a little bit tired.
Sure, sure you are.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, your work spans research and writing and production, so how do you balance all of these worlds?
I mean, you asked as if it would be like impossible, but in a way, I think I want to do that to make things easier.
Oh, I see, okay.
For example, I really like to work with up-and-coming or young filmmakers. I really like to co-write their scripts, if they want me to do it, of course, because I find it so much easier to then produce their films. So in this sense, and it's not just the case for young authors, then can always, the same can happen for established authors. I think if you go that deep into the creative research alongside with them, I just find it naturally easier to do production alongside with them. So that combination really makes so much sense for me. It's not like, it is a bit of extra work, but in a way it
But it's
pays
like one
off.
thing for you,
It's a
right?
one thing,
Yeah.
and then research, maybe it comes from my personality, not to like tap myself on the shoulder, but I'm much less driven by the success than by the curiosity. So it just gives me so much more energy to be able to research something or explore something. So then research is also part of those creative processes. And then since I guess I think about the creative and production processes in a way that I do, it's also kind of natural to do other research work on the side. So for me, it really always very organic, but as said, it comes, I guess, with a character, and it's not a good thing per se. It's just how I roll, I think. Yeah.
What kind of support system do you think unconventional cinema needs today?
Yeah, that's a huge question. We could go on and on about this. Also, what's unconventional cinema? What's the definition of it? That could also make that debate, go to one or another direction. There's an idea that unconventional cinema needs to happen outside of the conventional system, and conventional system is so tied with the conventional financing. So, maybe one school of thought would say unconventional cinema should not have the conventional support system to support it. But then there's also, I think, a place in the conventional or organized system, which I participate in, to give one window or a few small windows for the cinema. That's maybe not the most conventional or the most traditional or the most expected cinema in terms of the storytelling, such that maybe pushes the perspective a little bit further or to the side of what we're used to seeing in the cinema, or what people maybe like to see in the cinema. Maybe that it can question what people tend to want to see in the cinema, but also expands their expectations. So I think, to cut it short, in terms of financial support, in the current Slovenian system that we work in, there can be a good balance to support bigger, more accessible films and smaller, maybe more difficult, if you want to call it, or unconventional or curious films, or such that question the standards a little bit. And I think, to be honest, the Slovenian Film Center is trying to support such films. So I wouldn't want to be too critical about them. I think they're doing a good job. I don't know if you know, but Slovenian Film Center has received quite a substantial extra money from last year to this year to support Slovenian.
We didn't know that.
To support Slovenian filmmakers, which is a huge thing for the entire industry. And in that new bag of money, there is I think one part that can be put to support a bit of a different cinema. And I said, I think they're doing a fairly good job already. And with this kind of conversations, the fact that you ask me this right now, I think that can propel the conversation further. People think about it. People are not afraid to talk about that kind of cinema or that kind of support. So conversations are good, and conversation can then make support in terms of money or institutional support or other kinds of support easier to go through. Yeah.
What drives your passion for co-creative and experimental approaches?
Well, I mean, I said I'm a very curious being, and for some reason of course I need money to survive and pay the rent and pay the bills and stuff, but I'm not really interested in that kind of monetary success. So I have a lot of space in my head to explore, storytelling ways or different people or different combinations of people. So I'm really curious, and I think that experimentation comes from that. As far as a co-creation is concerned, I also not a big fan of hierarchy in which there's one person at the end of the process which is considered the author. I always found that a bit problematic. There's so many people working in the cinema, and the process is usually long and exhausting. And you know, the smallest part, or I don't know, the driver on set, or the cook on the set, or somebody that worked in pre-production, or somebody that has done, I don't know, assistance in grading or something.
So
you know,
you find them equally important?
I think they are equally part of the same system. And I always, since I was younger, I always questioned that notion of, you know, just focusing on one person at the end of the process. Of course, somebody's carrying the vision, and somebody needs to carry that responsibility. But I think everybody has their own little responsibilities, and then decide at the end that somebody's responsibility is more important than somebody else's responsibility. I find it quite questionable. So that co-creation is my way of seeing that process as just a system of different but equally important contribution to the same goal, which is open and undefined and all those kinds of abstract things from the start till the end. So I think co-creation kind of covers that ideological approach that I have towards filmmaking.
Wow, I love that.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you for asking.
How do you like the Kino Otok and Izola in general?
Yeah, we've been so busy the last couple of years. I love Kino Otok. I've been coming here, but not. I think the last time I was here was 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and we just didn't have time in June over the past year. So I'm so happy to be here right now, and having these 2 films presenting to the audience is beautiful, and it's very rewarding for us. We've been working hard, and it's been tiring and frustrating at points. So it's a really fulfilling and meaningful moment for me and for the people I worked with. Yeah.
Thank you for now. I mean, we could go on for hours,
Sure. Yeah.
but for the very end, I have 2 special questions.
Oh, okay, wow.
So one is, which place in Izola feels
Alright.
the most cinematic to you, and
Oh my
why?
God. Oh, that's a funky one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure I know it that well, but there's so many cinema people in the town right now. I guess every corner where you meet a filmmaking colleague or somebody you don't know, but you know that they work in films, is cinematic per se. So I would say every point in town where you meet somebody doing or watching or appreciating films is cinematic by the rule of it. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that.
Thanks.
And the second question is, if your life were a movie,
Oh.
which movie would that be, or which scene in a movie?
Oh my God, that's impossible to answer. I really can't answer this. But right now, this morning I woke up with a thought or an atmosphere within me of a film by Takeshi Kitano. It's a Japanese director and actor, a crazy guy, and he's a bit of a funny guy. He did some heavy comedy at some point, and then he did art house films, but art house films that kind of lean towards the Japanese mafia kind of films. It's really entertaining and fun, and I love it. But there's one film that stands out a little bit. It's called Kikujiro, and it's about this guy that meets a young boy, and the young boy is trying to find his mother on the other side of Japan or something like that. And I think they're traveling in the summertime, and the film feels so warm and so sunny, and so like I just felt it in the air. And there's this beautiful score that this famous Japanese composer Joe Hisaishi did, and it's called Summertime, and it's beautiful. It's a very cheesy sort of a piano song, but it kind of feels right for the moment. So I I would choose that one for this morning. I can't answer what my life would be in a film in general. Just this morning.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing your thoughts and vision and
Thanks
knowledge.
for having me. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Thank you.
We are so grateful. Thank you. Gabriele Stefe curates the sonic layer at Kino Otok. With a background in experimental music and sound design, he bridges film and soundscapes, turning screenings into immersive events. His selections pulse with emotion and surprise. Gabriele, welcome.
Thank you.
Where are you from? I heard you're local. Is that correct?
That was a very serious introduction. yeah. I'm from here. I'm from Isola. Yeah.
Do you like our town? You sure do,
I mean,
right?
Of course. I always go on about how this is the most beautiful town in the Slovene coast, and I think there's also something something about it, something special.
So, what role does the music play in shaping the festival vibe?
Well, I think that could you imagine like a festival without a kind of celebration, or without like a moment to just relax and hang out and listen to good music? I think it's a very crucial role, because it kind of invites the people after this many also demanding days of screenings and meetings and whatnot, to just relax and come listen, come play, come hang out, in a more relaxed manner. And also I think there's a lot of music lovers, of course. I think it's very connected to cinema, I mean, for obvious reasons, but I think it's a very crucial part that shouldn't be left behind. Yeah.
How do you choose music that aligns for such diverse films?
Just as diverse as the films. So I wanted to showcase the diversity we have here, from our local artists to also like more regional from other places in Slovenia. But yeah, I think we have a lot of talent and a lot of different forms of expression here, and it's a perfect opportunity to show them to a public that's very susceptible also for this kind of music, which would be maybe it would be a lot harder to present in Izola, let's say, as a smaller city. Yeah.
And do you have right now a band or a musician that inspires you the most?
Well, it's tough to pick favorites. So maybe. Are we talking from the music program here, or like in general?
Let's say in general.
Oh man, yeah. I'm really into kind of noise bands right now. So I really enjoy like combinations of this harsh, expressive music that is also like very without form, very abstract in a way, that merges with more traditional musical tropes, right? So I like to explore what's possible, what's out there,
Sure.
and kind of dive into this musical intensity, and that's just, I think, like completely crazy, and yeah, it's a lot.
And what's your favorite moment when music and film perfectly clicked?
I mean, I'm trying to think about some kind of movie that really got to me, but I mean, I think that music is really crucial for movies because it sets the tone. It's like it works on a subconscious level, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in a way, it's a huge part of a production, and when a movie has good soundtracks, right, and a good like musical background, if you want to call it background, I don't want to put it in the back, right? But it usually also this music or this composer becomes a cult, a cult reference. So I think that I lost my point, but it doesn't matter. I think when there's an iconic piece of music in the movie that's also very well made, you can feel it and you can remember it, and you can it speaks to you on a very emotional subconscious,
But subconscious.
level.
That was actually my other question. You
right.
probably shouldn't notice, like on a conscious level, you shouldn't notice the music.
I mean, it depends.
Or I don't know. Yeah,
it
You
depends
tell
what
me,
they
yeah.
want to do. I mean, it's it can be very like subtle, right? Or it can be very much in your face. It very much depends on what they want to do in the movie, and you know, I definitely enjoy when there's like a perfect soundtrack that expresses more than words could tell in that moment in the movie. Let's say, right?
If you had to describe Kino Otok as a song, what would it sound like?
Oh man.
It's a tough question.
It's a very tough question. I mean, again, there's a lot of diverse moments, a lot of intense moments. Yesterday, we were scared that the rain would come and we would have to cancel the whole program and move it indoors, which is like tragic for a festival like this, which plays on outdoor venues in the summer. So imagine being like all crammed up in a tiny cinema, like sweating all together. So it can be very diverse. It can be happy. It can be sad. It can be But I think like the prevailing emotion here is kind of relaxed. So a very relaxed summery song, like a good something to inspire good feelings in a way.
Summer house vibe, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, since we're at an arts festival, maybe we should go for something more, something a bit less, mainstream, if I can call it like that. But that's cool. That's cool. But I guess it would be pretty accurate. Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
So thank you for that. And for the very end, we have two special questions for all our guests.
Yeah.
The first one is, which part of Izola feels the most cinematic to you and why?
Is Belle Scale part of Izola? Does it count?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, okay, let me start, since we're on Svetilnik Beach, which is like if you ask me, by far the best beach we have in the city. And it's also a very special place for me because I practically grew up here and I have like memories from since I was, I don't know, a tiny kid, like playing around till, high school and everything and parties and exploring all kinds of stuff. And now, also a bit growing up and getting to do stuff here, like there's the stage right behind us. So it's a really special place for me. It's like a point in Izola where you can see like nearly 360. If there's a clear sky, like you can see everything from Monfalcone to Trieste, the whole Italian coastline, the mountains behind it. I think it doesn't get much more panoramic than that. So, but also the city center is a strong contender. Because I think also from the coastal cities, maybe we have the most, our city center, the old town is most alive, in comparison with other cities. I would say so.
So, if your life were a movie right now, which movie would that be, or which scene?
I don't think any specific movie comes to mind right now, because I've seen like too many these days.
Yeah.
But also I think that kind of aligns with my life right now. It would be a very unpredictable movie, I guess. I don't know if you know any. Like something very, maybe also, I don't want to say absurd, because I don't want to leave a bad impression, but something very, very unpredictable and very...
kind of hectic, maybe?
Yeah, at moments very hectic, at moments very chill. I don't know. I would love to direct that movie. I don't know. We kind of are directing our own movies called life, right? Even if, it's, I guess it's fiction. Like in our imagination, in a way, is also fiction. So we also get to write our screenplays, right?
You said it very well. Thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. And looking forward to seeing you around.
And that's a wrap. Thanks to all our incredible guests and to Izola for being the kind of town where even the breeze feels like it's whispering a story.
Oh, wow. That was great, maestro. Bravo.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Luca. I think we should co-host next time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we should do it again. Maybe you sing, I film, and then we both cry, but in Italian.
It's a deal.
What do you say?
It's a deal.
Okay, it's a deal.
Until then, dear listeners, go make your life a movie.
Thank you for being with us. This was another episode of Whispers of Izola. Listen to us on Spotify or on visitizola.com, and of course, visit Kino Otok, Isola Cinema next year. Ciao, ciao. Če želite slišati še več takih zgodb, se naročite na podcast Šepet Izole na Spotifyju, Apple podcastu ali pa na vaši najljubši platformi. Ne pozabite pustiti tudi ocene in seveda epizode deliti s prijatelji. Za konec pa še tole. Tale podcast je sofinanciran strani Turističnega združenja Izola in sredstvi javnega razpisa za sofinanciranje aktivnosti promocije turistične ponudbe vodilnih turističnih destinacij v Sloveniji v letu 2025. Hvala, da ste bili z nami, se slišimo v naslednji epizodi.